The bouquet shook slightly in my hands when he spoke the words. Selene Ward, your time is done. His first day wearing the CEO's crown, his first command, and I was the offering placed on the altar of his ambition. I didn't flinch. Calmly, I set the flowers down, white lilies meant for his desk, on the table between us. Water dripped from their stems onto my fingers, cold and slippery, like the steel of a blade sliding into my back. But 2 days earlier, I had held a meeting he never knew about. And that would be his undoing. I had first crossed paths with Adrian 4 years ago, when his handshake carried nerves instead of swagger. Back then, he was just a junior strategist, raw and eager, folded neatly under my wing. I guided him through the hidden currents of the company, pointed out the predators that circled the boardroom table. He was smart, restless, reckless, but always looking to me as his compass. Now that same man was trying to erase me. I had seen the shift long before the final vote. His eyes no longer sought mine for direction. His calendar filled with shadows I was never invited into. He started smiling too quickly in meetings, laughing at remarks I hadn't made. And then came the mistake. His secretary accidentally forwarded me an email. His draft speech. When I take over. 3 words that hollowed out my lungs. Adrian's betrayal wasn't swift. It was a slow bleed. He siphoned my projects, chipped away at my authority, built alliances in the dark, and when the board finally handed him the crown, he cut me out without hesitation. But here's what he never realized. I had seen the knife coming, and I had sharpened one of my own. The plan began with silence. I didn't resist when rumors swirled about me. I let him believe I was fading, irrelevant. I let him think I still trusted him. 2 nights before his coronation, I sat down for dinner with Victor Hahn, the investor Adrian was certain belonged to him. Over wine, I slid a folder across the table, a contract Adrian had signed 3 months earlier. A foolish acquisition, inflated and fragile, with one clause buried deep that tied him personally to the losses if it collapsed. Victor's eyes lit with interest. Why give this to me? Because loyalty deserves compensation, I replied. The following morning, I walked into HR and signed a severance package, one Adrian hadn't even realized he had approved. A trusted friend had slipped it into his signature pile days before. In his arrogance, he hadn't read it. The document guaranteed not only a generous payout but also preservation of all my company shares. He thought he was discarding me like refuse. Instead, he placed a weapon in my hands. So when he dismissed me, lilies trembling between us, I simply nodded. I understand, I murmured. Then I left without protest, leaving him to savor his hollow triumph. The board clapped for his bold beginning. He believed the empire belonged to him. The next morning, my secretary rushed into my apartment, breathless, cheeks red. Selene, you need to see this. She shoved her tablet into my hands. Stock prices plunging. Headlines screaming. Victor had leaked the acquisition details, Adrian's deal, into the press. Analysts shredded it as reckless, disastrous. Investors were already demanding answers. I sipped my coffee slowly, letting the warmth settle in my chest. The climax wasn't fireworks. It was a boardroom. 1 week later, an emergency meeting. Adrian shuffled in pale-faced, tie hanging loose, eyes rimmed red. He stammered about long-term vision. No one listened. Then I entered. No longer an employee, but the second-largest shareholder at the table. Ms. Ward, the chairman greeted, relief flooding his voice. The room leaned toward me like parched earth to rain. I let silence stretch before I spoke. This company doesn't need vision right now. Needs control. Someone who knows both its blood and its bones. Adrian's eyes locked onto mine, burning. You planned this. I didn't look away. I taught you everything you know. Not everything I know. The vote was swift. Adrian stripped of power. His personal assets chained to the doomed acquisition. His empire crumbling to ash as he realized the trap had been set long before his first day as CEO. Afterward, he cornered me in the hall, desperation cracking his voice. Why? I admired you. I adjusted my coat and met his gaze evenly. You admired me, until you believed you could replace me. You forgot who taught you how to play the game. I walked away, leaving him trembling, undone, the crown slipping from his head before it had even settled. And still in my memory, those lilies remain, delicate against the dark wood of his desk. Not symbols of celebration, but of mourning. He thought they were a gift. They were a warning. That day I lost nothing. He lost everything. And the most satisfying part, I never had to raise my voice.